Out of all Pokemon games, X and Y were the only ones that I missed out on because when they came out, I was a broke teenager who couldn't afford a 3DS, and by the time I could afford the games, I had heard so many bad things about it that I decided to skip them in favor of other games. But with the announcement of ZA, I ended up playing them as a refresher on my 3DS through very legitimate means. Shit. Well, the story felt pretty rushed with so much missed potential with the game's theme of handling limited resources, with making the main character and the rivals fight over the ability to use Mega Ring, only for it to get immediately resolved by having most of them give up or just accept defeat. But now with Legends ZA out, the Kalos region can have a second chance at having a finished story and expanding on what already exists. For those who don't want to get the story spoiled, the game's great. All this footage is for my Switch 1, and I've had no glitches and barely even any slowdowns, and they only lasted like a couple of seconds at worst. From what I can tell, the difference between the Switch 2 and Switch 1 version is only a higher frame rate and better texture quality. The game expands on the life and death themes of X and Y, as well as the game's theme of helping others where we can, as there are plenty of characters who do what they believe is best for Lumiose City and the people and Pokemon that live in it. Both the new songs and the remixes from X and Y is great as always. The story and writing is great, and the character designs are all amazing. The battle system takes a bit of getting used to, but once you figure it out, it's really fun to just defeat a Pokemon in a couple of strikes. Of course, I do have some complaints about the game, though it's mostly nitpicking. For example, I do dislike how the title screen is pretty much just the game's title on a black background with a little animation on top. Even Scarlet and Violet had the drawing of the classroom with the book on the desk. Hell, I can think of a better background myself. Just have a shot of Prison Tower with the camera panning around it, and have it switch between day and night occasionally to show the difference between day Lumiose and night Lumiose. There, done. I also dislike how, unlike in Legend Arceus, you don't get any cool outfits or hairdo after beating the game. You can unlock new hair and eye colors to the side missions, but nothing like unlocking the Volo fit in Arceus. Hell, you don't even get to customize your Rotom phone, despite it being a thing in Scarlet and Violet, and other characters in the game having custom cases. Another issue is the way the map is quite bland. Every building kinda looks the same, and it's pretty hard to tell where you are without using the map. I understand that in X and Y, Lumiose was pretty much like that, but that was mostly because of the limitations of a 3DS, and I feel like they could have taken more creative liberties with this version of Lumiose. One final complaint I have is that the start of the game forces you to be on railroads for quite a while, and it can be frustrating if you want to explore around from the start, but once you're free from the tutorial time, you're pretty much free to go wherever you want. But again, these issues don't really impact the game too much, and I still had very much a lot of fun with it. Now, onto spoiler territory. The game starts with us customizing our character. Just like in Scarlet and Violet, we can choose stuff like hair and eye color from the start, although we'll get more customizations later on. After that, we get a shot of Lumiose City from above, as the Zygarde itself falls in front of Prison Tower as it starts to go with what looks like Mega Energy. You also see Jet, Vinny, and AZ discuss something before we change point of view to another cell that's watching the protagonist on a train to Lumiose City. There we meet Tawny or Bane, depending on which gender we picked for the protagonist. In our case, it's Tawny, and she's trying to get videos of people saying that they love the Hotel Z, only for us to get interrupted by an ad from Quest article and getting our bag stolen. Chasing the thieving Pancham, we get our starter choice as the trainer refused to give us the bag back without a fight. After getting back our bag, our luck doesn't seem to get much better as nightfall and we end up in a battle zone for the ZA Royale. We try to escape only to get ambushed by a group of trainers, but then AZ's Floette comes to scare them off by firing Light of Ruin, which is well, they do say that Pokemon resemble their trainers, no? We finally leave the battle zone and get to Citadel Z. Here we get recruited into Team MZ, as well as being forced to join the ZA Royale, which is an event where various trainers in Lumiose City participate in to raise all the way up to rank A to get a wish granted. After some tutorials on catching and battling, we end up on our first ranked match against Zach, a taxi driver who wants to abolish all form of public transport aside from taxis. After we beat him, we meet Emma, who has become a famous detective in the time between the post-game in X and Y and now. She is actually helping Tawny look for someone in Lumiose, but we'll find more about that later on. Emma introduces us to side missions, and she tells us to go and help some people in Lumiose City, as well as keeping an eye out for a four-legged black Pokemon. After reaching rank V, we end up running into said Pokemon, and as we follow it, we find an Absol who is about to turn into a Rogue Mega. Luckily for us, AZ lends us a Mega Bracelet as well as his Lucario to help us fight the Absol, and after we defeat it, we find out more about those Rogue Megas from Vinny. 5 years ago, AZ asked Quasartico to help Lumiose as he could sense trouble, and 6 months later, the first Rogue Mega appeared. It is now both Quasartico and Team MZ's job to defeat the Rogue Megas and defend Lumiose from this threat and find out exactly what is causing it. For that end, we end up fighting Vinny to jump to rank F, and we get tasked with defeating 3 Rogue Megas around the city with Team MZ. For our next rank up battle, we'll be fighting Canari, a popular streamer in Lumiose. Luckily, Naveen from Team MZ is a big fan of ours and decides to help us out after we beat him in a battle. Turns out that Canari holds a quiz challenge where the winner is allowed to make one request that she cannot refuse. With Naveen's help, we managed to win the quiz and demand the challenge against her. After ranking up to rank D, we're faced with Zygarde once again, as it wants to battle us to test our strength. After we defeat him, a mysterious man who is totally not Lysander from X and Y tells us how the legendary Pokemon has chosen us and how we must help it to save Lumiose City. Zygarde also gives us a mysterious pebble, and right after that, L tells us that the Pokemon cannot Mega Evolve. Surely the pebble will not secretly be a Megastone, I mean, that'll be preposterous, right? The next day, we are contacted by the Rust Syndicate. As it turns out, Tawny has borrowed some money from them, and now they want to make a deal with us by having us help them out in exchange for removing Tawny's interest on our debt. After defeating some more Rogue Mega Pokemon and talking some more with L, we find out that the cause of the Rogue Megas might be connected to the remodeling of the prison tower, which means that Quasartico might know more than they let on, although for now it's all just speculation on our part. We also had to do some odd jobs for the Rust Syndicate, such as helping this guy take out some ghost Pokemon from his empty apartment and cleaning up the sewers. So yeah, turns out that the Rust Syndicate isn't as bad as it seems, although their methods are still underhanded. After some more battles in the ZA Royale and more Rogue Megas, we end up facing Corbeau for a rank up battle. He's willing to fight us and clear the interest rate for Tawny if we manage to beat him. He also tells us that L is Lysander after all, to nobody's surprise, and how he owes the man as he helped him out when he was younger. It is nice that they reference the one line that Lysander had in X and Y, where he talked about helping the people of Kalos. The next day, Tawny and us are invited over to a hotel with Chisime, where the Society of Battle Connoisseur will hold a battle event. Well, at first we try to join, we end up leaving early as more Rogue Mega Pokemon appear. This angered the leader of the SPC, Jacinthe, who ends up following us around as an hologram during our missions, and even locks us the hotel and forces us to battle her maid until we agree to go back. Luckily, our next rank up battle is against Jacinthe herself, so we rejoin the event and battle with everyone else until Elle and Zygarde interrupt their match against Jacinthe, as Legendary wants to battle us again in its 50% form. After ranking up and fighting more Mega Pokemon, we find out that the reason for the ZA Royale was to find a trainer strong enough to use Mega Floette, as their power will be enough to stop the prison tower from going more berserk. And given that we're rank B now, we just need one more rank up and we'll finally get to the finale of the game. We're told that our next opponent is Grisam, but we do not know anyone with that name and their profile image is obscured, meaning that we have to rely on Emma to find out our mysterious trainer. Emma says that Grisam is connected to Team Flare as they were training up a new generation in case their plan failed. After asking Mabel about it, she tells us to just head over to Nouveau Cafe. As it turns out, both workers at the cafe are members of Team Flare Nouveau. They bring us to the abandoned Lysander Cafe and let us explore the old Team Flare base to let us find out more about the ultimate weapon that AZ built over 3,000 years ago. We also meet Elle again, who tells us about what he remembers of his past, as well as explaining how he survived the blast from the ultimate weapon at the end of X and Y. After we come back up, Grisam tells us that he wants AZ's Floette, as it's the only one capable of fixing the extreme prison tower that is causing the rude Mega Pokémon. Going back to Hotel Z, AZ explains some more about the ultimate weapon, as well as explaining how, after losing Floette, he built Ange, the base of Prison Tower, which has the opposite effect of the ultimate weapon, as it was meant to share the life power of Pokemon instead of taking it away. However, that also means that the only one who can stop the tower from expelling Mega Energy is Mega Floette. And since AZ is too weak to channel her power, he and Quasartico made the ZA Royale to find a stronger Mega Evolution user to use their power to stop Ange. After that, we head to Grisam and defeat him, finally ranking up to A. We get one more interaction with Zygarde, as Elle explains that he's collected almost all of the cells and cores to allow Zygarde to become its complete form. After celebrating, both Tawny and us get into rank A, the tower starts to go berserk. We rush it while the last Zygarde cell secretly jumps in our bag once again. We then have to face Tawny as she wants to see who's the strongest between us and her, only to decide to use Mega Floette herself as she wishes to defend Lumiose and have us be on the ground in case something happens. Just as things seem to be fixed, Ange goes fully berserk as it takes over the tower and destroys a huge chunk of the city. We rush to where Zygarde is, while most of the friends we made along the way help us fight off the wild Mega Pokemon that popped up as a result of Ange releasing its power. When we get to Zygarde, it finally reaches its complete form as it starts fighting Hyperrouge Ange Floette. In the meantime, we have to fight off parts of it to make an opening so it can attack it. Just as we think the battle is over, Ange Floette starts to fire off a blast not too dissimilar from the one from the ultimate weapon. That's when we remember the pebble in our bag, and by grasping it tightly, we unveil the Zygarde hidden within. We Mega Evolve Zygarde with a really cool cutscene as it hits the blast with one of its own, turning the destructive power into a beautiful light show. We quickly find Tawny and Floette as AZ thanks Team MZ for all of the hard work as the credits start to roll with a very familiar song, and we get to see everyone's effort in rebuilding Lumiose. Once the credits are finished, we find out that AZ died shortly after watching Ange Floette be defeated, and everyone gives their thanks to the man. This leads us to the post-game content, where we get both Tawny and our own wishes granted in the form of the Infinite ZA Royale, a way to farm money and keep the battle zones active, even if we don't need to rank up anymore. After that, Elle comes to Hotel Z and tells us about Xerneas and Yveltal, asking us to go to Grisam and Mabel to find out where the two legendary Pokemon have appeared. Now, I would show some footage of me fighting them, but unfortunately my footage corrupted and I couldn't salvage any of it. But here's proof I did catch them. But the battle against them was just a simple wild encounter. After we catch both legendary Pokemon, we head back to Hotel Z, where we get a final showdown against Elle. And he has most of his old team from X and Y, including his Mega Gyarados. After defeating him, he tells us to head to where Prison Tower once stood to fight against Zygarde, and we have to face each form one by one. The final form is rather tricky. You have to learn its attack pattern or you will die, and unlike all the other bosses, you cannot cheese it by restarting it and keeping the damage. You have to beat it in one go. But after we defeat Zygarde, he accepts us and lets us join his team. While L tells us that he will start roaming the world just like AZ did before him. To get Floette, you have to compete in the Infinite Z Royale and get 15 tickets, as you will battle against every trainer that you beat in the normal Z Royale until you reach Tawny, who will give you Floette after a battle. After the battle, Jet will also reveal to us that Tawny's mother is her daughter, until they had a disagreement and she left to join Team Flare, and then left to some faraway region and died. The two of them share a sweet moment as Tawny finally found a person connected to her mother, which is who she was looking for. And Jet says that she's planning to step down as CEO of Quasartico since she did hide how dangerous Prison Tower was from the public, and wants Tawny to be the one in charge from now on since she loves Lumiose and has always been willing to help others. You can also get Lucario from the Mega Rogue Absol battle. As it turns out, it was a gift from Karina to AZ, as he explains in a letter to you, including telling us that Floette was a gift from his mother, which is finally stated in a game instead of being stated in an interview a long time ago. And that was Pokémon Legends ZA. Well, it definitely has some flaws, I had a lot of fun with it, and that's what matters the most to me when playing a new game. I'd say it's easily number 4 in my top 5 mainline Pokemon games, after Sun and Moon, Auras, and Legend Arceus. I do hope that this game proves to both Game Freak and the Pokemon Company that pushing for a new game every year isn't good, and to let the team take their time with the games and wait, what's that sound? If you have any suggestions for a game I should review or just to correct any mistake I might have made, please feel free to comment, and if you like this video, please consider subscribing. Thanks for watching.